Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. The Kentucky Derby is one of the world's premier horse races each year. Thousands of fans descend upon my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky to experience this incredible weekend, sport, tradition, entertainment, lots of entertainment. This year's running is the 150th birthday, big 150. New construction should be good to go. I was out there last Thursday. They are making lots of progress on it. Track's looking really, really good. It's going to be amazing. That paddock is going to be sick. Anyway, to track the contenders for 2024 Kentucky Derby, stick with Billy Ho Sports. We got your back. Check back early and often to see who the newest runners are, the contenders and whatnot. Thank you so much for joining me. All I ask, sub to the channel, give that thumbs up, and in the comment section, tell me who your early front runner for Kentucky Derby 150 is. We're going to break down the top 5 contenders. So here we go. The Kentucky Derby Trail began a few weeks back. It starts in the late 2-year-old season in September, wraps up toward the end of April, with the goal of the 2-year-olds turning 3 is to qualify in the top 20 to get into the race. Obviously, if you're unfamiliar with how these horses qualify for the Derby, it is based on a point system. The value of the points directly correlates with the grade of the stakes. The higher graded stakes, the more points, and so on. Each prep race awards the top 4 finishers. The winner gets the lion's share, 40% of the points. Hitting the board is ideal, first, second, third, because second gets 30%, third gets 20%, and just a mere 10% to fourth place. So with nearly 50 races to follow, I broke them down into 3 legs. Leg 1 is, like I said, the fall end of the 2-year-old season. Lots of lower level stakes type races. Save the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which was won by Fierceness. And there is also a race in Japan, the Yushun Run. That is going to be December 13th. So leg 2 is actually where things really get going. And that runs January through the end of February. That's really the beginning. Races are mostly like grade 3 events, but there are 2 big 50-point grade 2 stakes races, the Risen Star at Fairgrounds and the Rebel Stakes at Oaklawn Park. The final leg, obviously, will be the rest of the way from March through April. We have stakes such as the Fountain of Youth, the Florida Derby, Santa Anita Derby, UAE Derby, lots of derbies, but not the Kentucky Derby. So let's take a look at the early top 5 contenders. We're going to start with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, Fierceness. So let's take a look at his last 2 races. And obviously, I'm going to run through the Breeders' Cup Juvenile because there are a few of the top 5 ran in that race. So Fierceness, we saw running an outstanding race, and it was just a slightly slower pace than most of the races I watched over the weekend. They were flying. They were running 22 quarters and 45 half miles. Well, this one went in just your typical 43, 47 moderate pace for the way that track was running. But Fierceness took full advantage, pressing the pace the whole way, and then hitting the turn for home, was able to gain separation, and I mean blew them out by 6 1/4. Vast improvement over the effort in his last before that was at the Belmont, the Big A at Belmont in the Champagne Stakes. But he did have some gate problems, I guess we should say. Poor break. He lunges in. As you can see, I circled it for you. Gets off to a poor start. Irad Ortiz did try to hustle him up a quarter or a couple lengths back by the 3/4 pole, but he got tired down the stretch. But I think all in all, with this horse, Todd Pletcher, trainer, has a budding star. And yes, that leads me into another Pletcher star on the rise, Locked. Locked finished a hard charging third in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We'll revisit that. He ran a pretty great race as well. He settled in fine and then wheeled 5 wide into the stretch, finding his best stride just a little bit too late. Locked is sired by a gun runner, so I already like him. Gun runner, I make no bones about him being one of my all-time favorites. So going back to his previous race than the Juvenile, you can see how tough he is down the stretch battling at Keeneland in the futurity there. When he's challenged and he loses the lead a little bit, he comes right back to press hard down the stretch and get the W. And I feel like they list him as an early presser, but I feel like he's got that more of just a stalker presser like Arcangelo was. So I look forward to his progress coming around the bend. And on to another one would be Muth, trained by Bob Baffert. The white-haired wonder had a rough Breeders' Cup weekend, once again getting shut out. But Muth did run a very strong race, and he was right alongside Fierceness on the lead the whole way, made his bid, but hung up in the stretch and just couldn't keep up with Fierceness. Actually, his previous race, that was very unlike his winning effort in the American Pharoah 1 month earlier on the same track. He makes his bid the same way, but this one, he rolls down the stretch to a victory. Now, the other Bradford horse, actually, to come up short in that Breeders' Cup Juvenile was Prince of Monaco, very highly thought of horse. He also had a little bit of trip trouble coming up in this clubhouse turn. He was forced to check up on the inside rail. You could see coming up the middle, I show it to you, that mint green colored cap and silks. But he managed to get through that fine and then came 3 wide into the stretch, but failed to make any headway. So last up, we have Brad Cox, trained Timberlake. He also had some issues in the juvie. He was also keen into the first turn as well as Prince of Monaco. He was on the left, the number 4 horse with the big bright yellow tag, number 4, white cap and silks. Head, you can see as they're going into the turn, his head's popping up and down. That means he's kind of rank or whatnot. Did make a bid halfway through the second turn, but flattened out in the drive. But you go back to his victory in the Champagne, he was much a different horse, swinging 6 wide into the stretch, rallies late to take the lead, and edged clear on the sloppy sealed Big A Belmont track. So these 5, to me, seem the strongest early contenders for the 2024 3-year-old crop. But remember, there are many horses out there that have just maybe a start under their belt, or they might not even race at all as a 2-year-old. So you better be engaged and stay with me to find out more. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.